Okay, we're going to call this regular meeting of August 3rd, regular council meeting to order. Could we have a roll call, please?
Myron Coates,
Here.
Jim Stout,
Here.
Roger Smith,
Here.
Dan Delaney,
Here.
Justin Schreier.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. We have the agenda in front of us. Are there any changes or deletions to the agenda?
I do not have any.
Okay, any of the councilmen? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Dan and Jim seconds.
We approve the agenda.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Mayor Coates,
Aye.
Councilmember Stout,
Aye.
Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Delaney,
Aye.
Councilmember Schreier.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. And I'm
Okay.
going to let Travis in here quick. There we go.
Okay. In front of us, we have the consent agenda, which contains the following items for approval. The July 2020 regular meeting minutes and a payment of claims, which is listing the bills is in your packet. Is there a motion to move the consent agenda?
So moved.
Justin moves. There's a second. Dan seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll have a roll call vote, please.
Mayor Coates,
Aye.
Councilmember Stout,
Aye.
Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Delaney,
Aye.
Councilmember Schreier.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, was there any community concerns, Jeff, that called in?
No, I did not receive any.
Okay. So that gets us down to our legal. Now, this kind of puts us in kind of a parliamentary procedure here. Since we introduced this last meeting, and the idea was that if the governor came with a face mask directive, that this would be a mute issue. But we still need to address this at our meeting. And we can do this one of two ways. One way would be that I would call for a motion and no one would make a motion. And if I did that 3 times, it would disappear off the agenda. Or the second would be if someone still wants to move it, then we would still have to bring it to a vote, a roll call vote. So with that, is there a motion to move the ordinance 118 4th series? I'll call again the second time. Is there a motion to move ordinance 118 4th series? I will call for the third and final time. Is there a motion to move ordinance 118 4th series? Hearing no motion, the ordinance will die. Okay, with that, we'll move right on to engineering, and we have a water tower rehabilitation project payment number 3.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the city received a pay request from Classic Protective Coatings, Inc. in the amount of $428,740.15 for work done on the water tower rehab project. Bolton Mink has reviewed the pay request and is recommending that the council approve it.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the third pay request to Classic Protective Coatings? Jim?
I would so move that we approve pay request number 3 in the amount of $428,740.15.
Is there a second? Roger?
Yeah.
Okay, is there any questions, or you have Travis is on, any questions about the water tower project? Dan?
Travis, was there additional expense then from the painters on our discussion when they had to change the dollar figures to an hourly rate?
I haven't received their final amount of hours, but that would be one of the last items that's addressed here. Essentially, the project is complete, less a couple of punch list items, but yes, we will reconcile with the amount of hours for painters.
This pay request doesn't include that then?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Hearing none, we'd have a roll call vote, please.
Mayor Coates,
Aye.
Councilmember Stout,
Aye.
Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Delaney,
Aye.
Councilmember Schroyer.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, item B would be the 8th Avenue Northwest Water Main Improvement Project pay request number 2.
GM Contracting Inc. has submitted a pay request in the amount of $121,675.99 for work done on the water line improvements. Again, Bolton Mink has reviewed the pay request and is recommending approval.
Okay, Jim.
Yes, I'm just questioning my sheet shows 101,000.
101,000. Yeah, there's two different figures, Jeff. Is it 121 or is it 101?
I'm reading off the memo, so let me pull up the pay request. Travis, I don't know if you can jump in.
Yep.
The
I
memo
think
says
100
101,675.
Yep.
101,675? Okay,
Yep.
Yes.
Yes, I would make that a motion that we approve request number 2 in the amount of $101,675.99.
is there a second?
Second that.
Seconded by Justin. Okay, any discussion? I just have one question, Travis. Have you heard when GM is coming back or?
Sounded like later this week or beginning of next week, they'd be back.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, any other questions? Hearing none, we'll have a roll call vote on the pay request for $101,675.99.
Mayor Coates,
Aye.
Councilmember Stout,
Aye.
Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Delaney,
Aye.
Councilmember Schroyer.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, item C is the Fifth Avenue Southwest by the hospital street there, utility improvement project, pay request number 1.
This pay request is in the amount of $151,158.66 for work done on the Fifth Avenue project, and Bolton Mink has recommended its approval.
Jim,
Again, my paper shows 150,158.66.
Yeah.
I don't know, Jeff, you like that one.
Am I not reading that number right?
I can
One
tell
of
you,
those days.
I've been visiting Jeff a couple times today, Jim. He's had problems with numbers.
I've got too many of them. 150,000. How's that?
There you go.
All right, then I will make the motion that we approve pay request number 1 to Winter Contracting LLC in the amount of $150,158.66.
Is there a second? Dan,
I'll second it.
any questions? If no questions, we'll have a roll call vote, please.
Mayor Coates,
Aye.
Councilmember Stout,
Aye.
Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Delaney,
Aye.
Councilmember Schroyer.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
I've got a couple of general questions. Go ahead, for Jeff. Go ahead.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I was hoping Travis could give us an update on the Fifth Avenue.
Perfect.
Yes, the utility work, the underground work is nearly complete. Hoping to have that done here this week or early next week. Weather has been favorable, so things are moving along. We have sent out letters to a number of property owners along the project that were found to have the clay tile sewer that we were looking to address as we indicated at the public hearing for the project. And we are working through the process of getting their approval to either replace them at this time with our contractor or to allow the property owners the opportunity to hire somebody and take care of that on their own.
Dan,
Travis, what's the estimated time on completion of this? If everything stays the same, they stay at the same progress they're doing now?
Yeah, I don't have the completion date in front of me at the moment, but they're on schedule. I think we were hoping to have everything paved and put back together by early October, and
Okay.
I do believe that is still the indication that they will have it complete on time.
I think, have they put the new valve on the water tower yet, or is that something they have to do yet?
As of the progress meeting, construction meeting last week, that was identified as one of the items that would be coming in the next week. So I did not get an update today as far as if they were ready to go with that, but that will be one of the next things to do.
Okay. And that will take a little bit of time, I understand.
Yeah, it's probably going to be a full day to shut that tower down and complete the work to connect into the new main out there.
Okay. Thank you, Travis. Thank you very much.
You bet.
Any other questions of Travis while we have him on the hot seat? Before we get to some very important issues here. Okay, item A, old business, minnows. Okay, I can tell you. I had a meeting with the Hiawatha Pageant Park Committee. It'll kind of give a wrap up of that at the end also. But having said that, the Hiawatha Pageant Park Committee recommended that we do adopt an ordinance to not allow for the harvesting of minnows. And their rationale was that we're getting a lot of sunfish hatches, and they're really small, and they're about the same size as the minnows. And so what they would, rather than risk losing some of our sunfish that are actually hatching and reproducing in the pond, they're recommending that the council proceed with some sort of a minnow ordinance.
And having said that, Mr. Mayor, we have been working on some items. This is a very unusual, somewhat like our next topic, one-of-a-kind ordinance, and we're doing some additional research and are asking that the council would table this to your next meeting so that we can have an ordinance ready for your consideration.
Okay, is there someone willing to, yeah, go ahead, Roger.
I'll make that motion, table it till our next meeting.
Okay, table for next meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Jim. Any further discussion? Not a roll call vote.
Mayor Coates,
Aye.
Councilmember Stout,
Aye.
Councilmember Schmidt,
Aye.
Councilmember Delaney,
Aye.
Councilmember Schroyer.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, very good. Thank you. And now, under old business, CARES funding grant procedures. And for the general public, we did have a hour-long work session trying to iron out some of the details of this from 5:30 until 6:30. So if you're listening to this conversation, we didn't come to any conclusion during the work session, but we have had a number of questions asked and answered. So with that, I'll turn it over to Jeff.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the city received, and I'm going to be careful on my numbers here, $312,662 in Corona Aid Relief and Economic Securities Funds, or CARES is the name for the program. This is money voted by the federal government. Each state received a portion of those funds, and of the portion that Minnesota received, Governor Walz decided to distribute a portion of it to cities, counties, and townships. And then the city, as I said, received the $312,000 figure last week. One of the things that the mayor and I sat in on several webinars last week with this money in the process of being distributed, and there are a number of eligible uses for those funds. They have to obviously be tied to or as a result of the COVID-19 virus, and be incurred from March through this year as far as costs. The special session that the mayor referred to involved the review of a proposed draft of a policy for a grant program to distribute some of these monies, the vast majority of those monies, depending on council's decision tonight, to small businesses through the EDA. And as the mayor said, there were a lot of questions and answers and proposed changes discussed of the draft proposal. For the folks watching, that draft proposal was based primarily on procedures and policies, applications drafted by Marshall, Worthington, and Rock County. And so there is that proposal before the council tonight. And I know there was some discussion again during the special meeting as to some possible changes. So with that, I would turn it back to the mayor.
Okay, thank you. Is there any of the councilmen or anyone like to propose some changes to the draft program? Dan?
I think we should approve the draft as presented with the exceptions of we don't want to mandate one address, that it should be by registered business. And we want to put a cap on our allowance of $5,000 for registered businesses and nonprofits to apply for. And then based on their needs, the distribution would go from that point on. We also want to put instead of having a 12-month period that the business had to be in process, I would say that we need to set a cap date of the business had started prior to March 1 or February 15th, if somebody wants to back it up a little further, but just have a specific date that the business started prior to this COVID event and move ahead with that. And I think we need to make a decision on it. We need to get moving on this and get the policy in place so that those funds can be distributed as quickly as we can distribute them.
Okay, everybody followed his recommendations? Is there any additional recommendations that you would like to make? I think, okay, one of the things that do we want to, I think in our conversations, we talked about non-essential businesses that were affected or do we want it open up to all businesses?
I would say the non-essential that were impacted the most.
Okay, Roger, you had your hand up.
I was just going to agree with that.
Okay, non-essential businesses. Okay, very good. And in operation 15th of February 2020 is agreeable. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, and I think that kind of covers everything. Erica, you were kind of
It
had a lot of
shouldn't be,
input. Yeah, go ahead.
Mayor, it shouldn't be limited to just one application per address. It should be
by registered, yes,
by registered business,
with the Secretary of State of Minnesota.
regardless if they happen to be in the same building or not with the same address.
Right, but they have to be registered with the Secretary of State. Yes.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, is there anything we're missing here?
Mr.
Jeff.
Mayor, clarification as far as non-essential, are you stating that you want to limit it only to non-essential businesses or that they are included in the eligibility pool?
Okay, that they would be included.
It's non-essential businesses and nonprofits. I think that's what we were talking about, correct?
Right, and then the EDA would have the discretion, and this would be, like you said, you capped up at 5,000, but it may be less than 5,000, depending on the demonstrated need of the particular business. Okay.
But again, I just, excuse me, but are you saying that essential businesses are included or are not to be included?
We actually talked about the non-essential businesses not being included, didn't we? Is that what we agreed on?
The non-essential businesses would be included.
I'm sorry.
Essential
Yeah.
businesses would not be included.
Right, correct.
Yeah.
The essential businesses that still operated would not be included. This is for non-essential businesses that were forced to close during this COVID event.
Right, which was Directive 20-04 of dated 16 March 2020.
Right.
Okay. Jeff, you got all those changes down?
Well, I do, Mr. Mayor. I would just, again, as I said, I borrowed heavily from Worthington, Marshall, and Rock County, and none of those governmental agencies made the distinction between non-essential and essential. So that's why I was asking for clarification. Just to make sure I understood what the council's wishes were on this.
Okay. Okay, it's up to the council. Let's, we're going to have to do this by a vote, first of all. Okay, the council, do we want to go essential or business, or just plain business, right, Jeff, was what you're talking about?
That's correct. Again, just Worthington states a private business. Rock County differentiates between profit and nonprofit. Again, not using the essential language. It's just why I wanted to make sure I understand what the changes are here.
Okay, I'm gonna poll each one of you, the council members, and I'll start with Roger. Well, what's your take on that?
I'd say non-essential.
Okay, Justin,
Non-essential.
Dan,
Non-essential, the businesses that were impacted because of COVID, you know, if it was an essential business, it would remained open, and then it's just speculation on how they were impacted or not. But we know the non-essentials were impacted, and that's where I would think we would want to direct our funding at this point. So non-essential.
Jim?
Non-essential.
Okay. I guess we're gonna go with the non-essential verbiage. Okay, with all that, you got all that language down, Jeff, or you clear as mud?
I have the changes that the council's enumerated as the business needs to be registered with the Minnesota Secretary of State rather than the physical location, operating on February 15th, 2020, and up to $5,000 is the maximum cap on the grant amount, and you are limiting it to consideration to be eligible to be a non-essential or non-profit.
Dan?
Changes I have.
Do we want to put anything on the time period for the application?
The
Some time
application.
to go for a round two if we end up with additional funding through another entity. If there is some funding available for the city of Pipestone, that we have time to do something again before the November 1 cutoff. Do we need to do that, Jeff?
The application currently states that applications were received August 4th through August 31, 2020. After that date, they will be closed. So, you know, in theory, that we could have a second round. I know during the special session, you discussed the fact that you felt the funds would be applied for, the amount that the city received would be applied for during that time period. But in theory, yes, we could, with the 31 cutoff, come back for a second round.
Okay. And then do we want to specifically say the 501c nonprofits? But that would limit it to just the 501c nonprofit.
And I believe that was a discussion again during the special meeting.
We don't want to leave it that vague to just say nonprofit. We want to be specific there.
Yes, yeah, I agree. I think that's what the discussion was a 504
501c.
or 501, excuse me. Okay, 501, excuse me.
Yep.
I was trying to get my 504. No, that's not true. Okay. Okay, good. Any other thing you want to put on that? With that, then with those changes, we would need a motion with those changes to proceed with the CARES funding grant procedure. Dan,
I would so move.
is there a second? Jim,
Second.
okay. Any other discussion? Dan,
I'd just like to make it clear that, we are limited to the $312,000 that we've received so far. And that's why we have to have these stipulations. We would certainly like to have additional funding for, if we can. And if additional funding comes forward through another government entity, we'll certainly have a round two and open that up and help the businesses that we can with any additional funding. But it's pretty obvious, I think, that just through our discussions that this amount of funding will go quite quickly. So first come, first served basis on the applications, and we'll see how it plays out and see if we can help again in the future.
yeah, clarification on the applications is that we'll have a cutoff date after we receive all the applications on that cutoff date. Then the EDA will meet and make the awards. Okay, very good. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'd have a roll call vote, please.
Mayor Coates,
Aye.
Councilmember Stout,
Aye.
Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Delaney,
Aye.
Councilmember Schreier.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, now we're going on to new business. Item A, set the interest rates for the term of the 2019 Mill and Overlay Improvement Project.
As part of the city's assessment policy, it is necessary to set a rate for the interest on unpaid assessments for the 2019 Mill and Overlay project. The bonds rather for that project were sold with an interest rate of 2.25%. Under the city's policy, 10 years would be the maximum for repayment of the assessment for the work that was done last fall. Typically, the council has set a slightly higher interest rate simply to cover administrative costs. And again, the bonds were sold at an interest rate of 2.25%.
Okay, so we need a motion to set the interest rate and the term, the limits, time-wise. And this is for what we did last year, not what we're going to do this year. Dan?
Right.
I would move that we set the interest rate at 2.25% for the term of 10 years.
Okay, just pointing, well, okay. Rogers, are you seconding that or?
Oh,
Okay. Point of clarification here, Dan, is we borrowed the money at 2.25%.
Yep. I'm quite aware, and I'd like to see the 2.25%. I don't feel that we need to put additional percentage on there for the cost of administration. Since we have administration costs anyway, whether we bond or not, and I think that's just part of administration that the city already pays for, and any additional would be double taxation on those taxpayers. So I would like to see the 2.25%. That was my thought behind that for the 10-year term.
Just point of clarification on your motion. Is there a second to Dan's motion? Is there a second to Dan's motion? Is there a second to Dan's motion? Hearing no second, the motion dies. Is there a motion to set the term and interest rate? Roger.
A question. Typically, don't we go like a 0.5%?
That
over?
is correct.
I'll make the motion for the 2.75% and the 10-year repayment period.
Is there a second?
I would second that.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'd have a roll call vote, please.
Mayor Coates,
Aye.
Councilmember Stout,
Aye.
Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Delaney,
Nay.
Councilmember Schreier.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-1.
Thank you. Item B, which is consider approval of the Michael Hart conditional use permit.
On July 15th of this year, the Planning Commission discussed a conditional use permit application by Mitchell Hart to use a residential property at 314 2nd Avenue Southeast as a location for his business, U-Body Work Therapy. This is considered neighborhood commercial use and is allowed under section of the city code if approved. Conditional use is approved by the city council. The planning commission has recommended to the city council that it approve the conditional use permit for this location.
Okay, we have the conditional use in front of us, which has been approved by the planning commission. Is there a motion to grant the conditional use permit? Dan,
I would so move we follow the recommendation of the planning commission and grant the permit.
okay, thank you, Dan. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Justin seconds. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Mayor Coates,
Aye.
Councilmember Stout,
Aye.
Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Delaney,
Aye.
Councilmember Schreier.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, item C on our agenda is resolution 2020-47. And I'll let Jeff explain this one.
The airport manager and public works, who are responsible obviously for maintaining the airport and the runways specifically, have identified the need for a snow blower. The current equipment doesn't always blow the snow back far enough, and there's always concern with planes as far as wing clearance and that type of thing. So the idea is to get the snow blown back far enough from the runways to permit continuous use as weather permits and the equipment allows. Minnesota Department of Transportation has agreed to give the city a grant for 100% reimbursement on this piece of equipment, which is $376,000. Again, as I said, the city would have to expend these funds and then apply for reimbursement at 100% level. And the resolution 2020-47 would authorize the purchase of this snow removal equipment.
Okay, is there a motion to approve resolution 2020-47? Justin,
So moved.
okay, is there a second?
Second.
Tim? Okay, any questions?
Do the funding comes from the general budget then at this point
That's correct.
till it's reimbursed?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Hearing none, we'll vote on 2020-47, roll call vote.
Mayor Coates,
Aye.
Councilmember Stout,
Aye.
Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Delaney,
Aye.
Councilmember Schreier.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
So that brings us to item D, which is consider an application of the Calumet Inn Historic Loan Grant request.
Yes, the city received a request from REAP LLC on behalf of the Calumet Historic Inn for a loan grant, a loan of $10,115 and a grant of $10,115 with the owner's equity of $8,670. This would be for the repair of the east wall of the Calumet Inn at 104 West Main.
Is there a motion to approve the application of the Calumet Inn? Dan,
I would so move that we approve the application for the Calumet Inn at this time.
is there a second? Jim,
I would second that.
okay, any discussion?
Yeah. I've got some questions on it, and that's why I wanted to at least get a motion out there so we could discuss it. As far as the loan amount, is that tied against the owner, or is it tied against the building? How is that tied in case there's some issues with that being paid back?
The procedure is that if the council approved the application, the owner is informed of that approval. She would have to have the work completed and inspected. Upon receiving an approval of the work done from the building and zoning administrator, the procedure has been, with all of the grants of this type, to obtain a promissory note and a mortgage payable to the city to secure the repayment of the loan portion of the loan agreement.
So that's against the current owner then? The lien would be against the,
It would be against the property. It would be a mortgage on the property.
okay, a mortgage on the property. Okay,
Yes.
thank you, Jeff. That clears that question up.
All right.
Yeah, if we may be truthfully viewed as a second or third mortgage holder,
Right,
That's
depending.
correct. And not unusual.
great.
Okay, Jim.
Yeah, the only comment I would make, it'd be great to get rid of the scaffolding on the sidewalk as well.
I agree,
Yeah.
Jim. I walk around it every morning.
I think I said that last winter. Man. Yeah, I agree with you, Jim. Well, we don't want to see someone get hurt either. I mean, that fascia there, it's about ready to fall. And if it does collapse like what happened at the Senior Citizen Center, it's just going to be that much more to fix it. So it's got to be addressed before it falls. And I'm glad to see that the owner is making an attempt here to get this taken care of. So thank you that way.
Good, okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'd have a roll call vote, please.
Mayor Coates,
Aye.
Councilmember Stout,
Aye.
Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Delaney,
Aye.
Councilmember Schroyer.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, item E is consider the application of the ANS Drug Historic Loan Grant request.
Jay Norberg has submitted an application for a historic loan grant to remove the existing roof at A&S Drug and replace it with a membrane roof system. The loan amount would be $20,643, grant amount in the same amount, and the owner's equity $17,694.
Roger,
I got a question. What was the cap that we had? Did we have a cap on the amount that we could loan?
We had a loan and grant maximum of $21,000 on each amount.
Okay, thank you. I'll make the motion to approve that request for NS Drug then.
okay, is there a second? Dan,
I'll second it.
okay. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll have a roll call vote.
Mayor Coates,
Aye.
Councilmember Stout,
Aye.
Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Delaney,
Aye.
Councilmember Schroyer.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, very good. Item F, approve recommendation to the county board on the Indian Lakes Trail bid.
Mr. Mayor, I defer this one to Travis. I know he has reviewed the bids and has a recommendation he's made to the city.
Thanks, Jeff. Following the bid opening at the July 20th council meeting, I reviewed the bids and they were all responsive, and we feel that at this time it is in the city's best interest to award the bid to Dunnick Incorporated in the amount of $640,475.30. Per the grant agreement and the agreement between the city and the county that was executed a number of years ago when we received the TAP funds, the county will be the entity that enters into the contract agreement with the contractor. So it is appropriate for the city council to recommend the county board award the bid for the project. Again, this was under estimate by $148,000, and we feel that this is an appropriate amount based on the current bid environment. So it would be the right time to award this to Dunick, if you would so choose to recommend to the board.
Okay. With that, I would entertain a motion to approve the recommendation. Dan?
I just had a quick question for Travis.
Excuse me, go ahead.
Travis's specs on this trail, was that concrete? Refresh my memory or not?
Yes, it is. Yep. And
It is concrete.
Yep, it is. Yes, and thank you for pointing that out. Dunick is a bituminous contractor, as we know from our overlay contract, but they are using a sub out of Marshall that will be doing the concrete work for them.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, is there a
Yep.
motion to recommend this to the board of, to the county board to proceed?
I would so move.
Okay, moved by Jim. Is there a second? Seconded by Dan.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Okay. Any further discussion? Then we would have a roll call vote, please.
Mayor Coates,
Aye.
Councilmember Stout,
Aye.
Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Delaney,
Aye.
Councilmember Schroyer.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, the final item of new business is item G, which is Chamber of Commerce request for council action. And I'll turn it over to Jeff, and I'm assuming Erica will jump in and give us a rundown.
Yes, the council's already approved some prior actions in regard to the annual Water Tower Festival, but due to ongoing changes in our health situation, given COVID-19, the chamber has some changes in their request for action, and I would let Erica speak to those changes.
Yes, just briefly, we're here mostly to be able to answer questions in the interest of time, but yes, we appreciated the last time we were here, we set forth a request to continue Water Tower Festival. And at that time, we were under well, at that time, I think we were under phase 2, which began under the state's executive orders, or excuse me, phase 3. And we've been under that since June 10th. It was our sincere belief that we would have in 2 months moved past that. To the contrary, we've stayed at that level and in fact now have a mask mandate. So in some respects, we've become more restricted. So given that and the fact that we still are currently under the executive order that legally prohibits any large gatherings, even outdoors, that exceed 250 people, we've had to make significant changes to Water Tower Festival. We had continued it as far out into the summer as possible, taking the Pipestone Civil War Days weekend, which was August 14th through the 16th. Pursuant to the request you have in front of you, the constraint put on us by the state is prohibiting basically all but 2 in-person events that could occur. So we're seeking approval for those 2 in-person events, which would be Saturday, August 15th. The first is technically the Pipestone Cruisers event, the car show that they hold annually. And we'd be seeking a different location for that based on a number of factors, not the least of which is the construction on the street where they normally hold that, as well as the need to have greater space for social distancing and to just for a number of other considerations. So that would be the one. And then the other, and that basically takes place, I think registration is at 9. Their show is from 10 to 3. They can easily socially distance that. masks are going to be encouraged. They're not required under law, and a reminder for people to maintain 6 feet social distancing. Then the other in-person event would be a drive-through in lieu of the community dinner that we normally hold on Friday evening in conjunction with the street dance. Because of the health impact and recent incidents in other communities from street dances and their impact on spikes in testing and increased positive tests for COVID, all of our Thursday and Friday night events have been canceled. We'd like to move then that community dinner to a drive-through chamber fundraiser lunch. That would be a drive-through sponsored by several of our member businesses, and that would be utilizing the parking lot behind Stonehouse and the quarry, and using about half of that. We did provide a map that kind of indicates how we would shut that off to maintain access for First Bank and Trust, and also the parking along there and parking for the businesses on Main Street as that are in front of that. So those would be the two that we'd like to seek approval for. The other items, we've brainstormed a number of activities that can be done kind of on your own schedule. There are about 6 other things that will be done in terms of the regular water tower medallion hunt. We're adding a photo contest, a Pipestones scavenger hunt, a chalk your walk art contest in front of your own house, a best front yard contest, and a hit the trails contest. That we'll be able to have some fun for families to do. We've got a lot of cool prizes as a result of people purchasing the Loyal Local t-shirts. So that will be great, but that way it doesn't encourage a large gathering. It doesn't violate those orders. So we've tried our best here. This decision certainly was not entered into lightly. It is the largest non-dues fundraiser for the chamber. So certainly in a year where we've been hard hit, our members have been hard hit, tourism has been hard hit, can assure you that a lot of thought went into this. Another consideration, just wanted to let people know, as well as the council, is we did not want to be the cause of any type of impediment that would prohibit anything in terms of school moving forward in a capacity that would allow I'm just speaking for myself, but for in-person education, or potentially limit, if parents had to stay home, then to put a further burden on our local businesses within their employees having to stay home to homeschool. So we felt like, as hard as this is, it was more important to move forward, try and do something, have something to have some activities for people, but really putting it in the context of making sure that our education and economy are prioritized. And health.
Okay. So we have the council request in front of us. Is there a motion to approve? Jim?
I would so move that we approve the Chamber's request for their limited activities and thank them for their efforts. Some sort of normalcy.
Good. Roger?
Second that.
Okay. And I'll echo, really thanks to the Chamber of really taking all things into consideration to try to put on this program, keeping in mind the safety of people. So I really appreciate that. Is there any other discussion?
Quick question to Erica. Erica, I might have missed it. Where is the car cruiser car show going to be held then?
I apologize, I might have skipped that, but what we're requesting is to have Main Street blocked off for where we intend to start to line up the cars would be at the corner of just inside, not blocking Hiawatha, but on Main Street. So moving it to Main Street, just inside from, starting at A&S and the Calumet and moving down and filling in socially distance-wise through those. We think we'll probably need those 2 blocks, but, you're not quite sure. So we've asked for permission to extend down to 4th Avenue Northwest, not blocking that, but up to that corner. That would have already been blocked off pursuant to our last request. It's our intention to block off as little as possible while still maintaining social distance.
Okay, yeah, good, thank you.
Yep, thanks.
Okay, any other questions? Hearing none, we would have a roll call vote, please.
Mayor Coates,
Aye.
Councilmember Stout,
Aye.
Councilmember Smith,
Aye.
Councilmember Delaney,
Aye.
Councilmember Schroyer.
Aye.
Motion carried 5-0.
Great,
Thank
thank you
you.
very much. Okay, with that, is there any closing comments, Jeff?
Mr. Mayor, I just have two. We start the budget sessions with each of the department heads tomorrow. If any council members would like to attend those, obviously any two of them are always welcome. I was going to say they're but limit to two, so we don't have a quorum present. But we'll be continuing those this week. If council members want to call me to see as to which departments are being met with at which times, I'd be happy to take those calls. As you know, eventually it'll come back before the council for a general meeting and open meeting type of situation. But in any event, they'll start tomorrow. And I did submit an application today or rather last Friday, the deadline for the Minnesota Historical Society to repair the east wall on the senior center. The projected construction timeline, should that grant be awarded, would be next spring. So Mike's currently working on an arrangement that would enclose the exposed portion through the winter months while the weather still permits. But in any event, we got that grant application in, and we'll wait to see it. It's competitive. And obviously with the state projections as far as budget revenues, state revenues, we'll see how much money the Historical Society has. But I just want to give council that update.
Okay, Dan.
Jeff, can you send out an email on the scheduling of the department heads?
Sure.
Either at what time, and then see if there is if I have some time.
Okay, I will do that.
Read that.
Okay, I have just one item that I wanted to go over. I kind of mentioned it earlier. I met with the Hiawatha Pageant Park Committee, and what they're doing is we have 21 pine trees that are 10 foot tall to the north of the lodge. And they are looking for volunteers to light those for the holiday season. And we're anticipating coordinating with the chamber of doing a kickoff up above by the old ticket booth. And the Hiawatha Pageant Park Committee is going to decorate that archway plus 2 trees up there, have a lighting ceremony Thanksgiving weekend sometime with a little bonfire and maybe some hot chocolate. And we're working on getting some carolers out there with social distancing. And so just kind of a public announcement, and I'm really excited about it. We've talked about trying to light up that park for a number of years, and we're actually moving forward with it. So with that, any other closing comments?
Mr. Mayor, I have one.
Yes.
I applied for and we were awarded a $500 grant for the Pipestone Farmers Market from Hunger Solutions. And that $500 pays our administrative fees. We have to hire a gal that runs that, takes care of all the credit card machine and everything. And so just wanted to let you know that. And we're having a real good year with the farmers market, all things considering.
Great.
I know I've been up there a couple times and I really enjoy the fresh produce that they have. It's kind of like a Sunday treat around the house here. Okay, with that, we're going to go into executive sessions, and we're actually going to cover 2 items in the executive session. One is consider an offer to purchase 4.6 acres in the southeast 1/4 of Section 11, Township 106 North, Range 46, line south of the south side of 2nd Street, Southwest Pipestone, Minnesota. The second item that we'll be considering is consider an offer to purchase, or we're selling Lot 10, Block 18, original plat to Pipestone, also known as 411 West Main. With that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn our regular session for the purposes of going into executive session. Roger.
I'll make that motion to adjourn our regular meeting.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'd second it.
Seconded by Jim. With that, we'll have a roll call vote, please.
Jeff, you got the forms?
Yes.
Roll call vote.
Sorry. Busy making notes here. Coates,
Aye.
Stout,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Delaney,
Aye.
Schroyer.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And so we'll be going into executive session.
Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
Yep.
Okay. We have been in executive session. Okay, we need to reopen the regular city council meeting. There's a motion to reopen the city council meeting.
So moved.
Moved by Dan. Is there seconded by Jim?
Okay.
Okay, Roger, one of the two. Roll call vote, please.
Coates,
Aye.
Stout,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Delaney,
Aye.
Schroyer.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, we've been in executive session to consider two items. The first item was to consider an offer to purchase 4.6 acres in the southeast 1/4 of Section 11, Township 104 North, Range 46 Lane South of the south side of 2nd Street, Southwest, Pipestone, Minnesota. And on that item, we're directing staff to put together a purchase agreement. On item 2 was to consider an offer to purchase, or consider an offer to purchase from us, or sale, of Lot 10, Block 18, original plat to Pipestone, also known as 411 West Main. We are directing staff to obtain more information on the property so that we can evaluate potential sale. With that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn this regular meeting.
So moved.
So, motion made by Jim, seconded by Roger.
Second.
Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Coates,
Aye.
Stout,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Delaney,
Aye.
Schroyer. Aye. Motion carries unanimous.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it very much.